Cebu Normal University has stood for over 119 years with a fair share of defeats to learn from, a good number of victories to celebrate, a legacy of excellence to sustain, and a challenge of significance to cultivate. The sudden onslaught of this pandemic has brought about unprecedented challenges, but it has also given the university an opportunity to reflect on what it means to uphold a legacy of excellence built by generations that have come before us. CNU was already recognized as a leading state university in the country and has already started making an impact in higher education through significant achievements in instruction, research, extension, and publication. In moving onwards, the only way is upward to greater heights. The Latin word for ever upward is excelsior, which Stanley, a famous comic book writer, used as a catchphrase to mean upward and onward to greater glory. This translated to the university's response to the new normal, which is to work not just to survive, but thrive in the midst of unprecedented changes in the educational landscape. The normal may be new, but Cebu Normal remains steadfast in its duty to thrive, to lead, and to serve.
The biggest impact of the pandemic is felt in the area of instruction. How can we ensure teaching and learning continuity considering the type of learners a state university caters to? The university's response is the Cebu Normal University Reframing of Teaching and Learning, or the CNU-RTL, through a flexible teaching and learning system. The CNU-RTL is primarily anchored on the methodology and content of the CNU Innovation Framework by Dayagbil 2020. The framework is intended to reframe teaching and learning as we all adapt to the unprecedented situations caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The first step to the reframing was to conduct a thorough situational analysis of the status of Cebu Normal University in the areas of curriculum, instruction, academic operations, learning technology, and faculty capability. A research was immediately undertaken at the start of the community quarantine, and the results were utilized for scenario building and response planning. Scenario building provided the contextual basis for the development of the new normal in CNU. The best and worst prospective scenarios were created to allow the university to move along extreme and dynamic health conditions in a continuum. This provided the strategic long-term and short-term strategies for CNU's academic operations. Flexible learning and teaching design, flexible learning capacitation of faculty members and students, and ICT in teaching and learning and student services. These were then presented to the stakeholders for their feedback and support. The Administrative and Academic Councils then endorsed to the Board of Regents the CNU-RTL as part of the university's reframing in the new normal. The Board of Regents approved the proposal, including its budgetary requirements in the amount of 22.3 million pesos on May 28, 2020.
To thrive in the new normal in the CNU context is to pursue evidence-based planning with the active engagement of all stakeholders, from those in the front lines up to the highest policy-making body. The road ever upward can only translate to true progress when it is anchored in the rigors of science and taken together with no one left behind.
The CNU-RTL framework provides flexibility, equity, and resilience in teaching and learning while supporting the health and well-being of students and teachers. This served as the basis in the direction on how the teaching and learning process takes its innovative programs in addressing the new normal. In the flexible learning and teaching design, academic calendar and curriculum flexibility were explored. This included the repurposing of the syllabi, including the review of curriculum maps and learning outcomes. For flexible learning capacitation of faculty members and students, series of trainings were pursued for teachers and orientations were done for students. Data analytics was used by the Technical Working Committee to address a critical information for the category of learners. Module development by teachers then commenced, and the quality assurance of all printed materials was instituted through the anti-plagiarism checking to the content review by experts. To complete the response, ICT in teaching and learning and student services was developed. Major capital outlay expenditures covered the needed equipment for the pursuit of relevant infrastructure and system enhancement, and establishment of the Center for Innovative Flexible Learning, or CIFL. CNU then launched its flexible learning delivery and its modalities. We continued to innovate with our online comprehensive examination and online thesis and dissertation defense. Teaching internships and alternative related learning experience proceeded with the virtual platforms.
Our college has brought us RLED, or the Alternative Related Learning Experience Delivery, or which are commonly referred to as our online duty. These help us refresh our knowledge and acquire new nursing information and skills. I believe that this program is just a small step among others that we have to take in being the best versions of ourselves and providing care.
Even our young and little learners in the Integrated Laboratory School adapted well to the virtual learning environment. Academic support has also been redesigned to aid in teaching and learning continuity. Our learning support services have been recalibrated to include the library's document delivery service and Ask Mini, online student portal, and the Student Communication Center.
With our collective efforts, we have championed students' rights and welfare. We have catered a total of 471 concerns, and that number is still growing. We continue to strive, strengthen, and empower student participation for quality education.
CNU would never leave the learners who have no capacity for online learning, as we also share the tasks as one family to prepare for the printed modules. Delivery of modules was made possible through the university's network with LGUs as drop-in centers and the use of couriers for inter-island delivery. The heroism of our volunteer teachers and staff who distributed the modules in their respective localities is one that can only be drawn out from the spirit of community in the university.
To lead in the new normal in the CNU context is to communicate a clear vision to the greater community and establish a shared investment to the desired outcome. From system design to human resource development and infrastructure support, all initiatives were anchored to aid the best to worst scenarios. The road ever upward may not be paved, but the uphill climb is fueled by a shared goal of taking the university where it is to where it could be and should be in the spirit of nation building through quality higher education.
Amid the pandemic, CNU has secured the most coveted ISO 9001-2015 recertifications and is recognized by the accrediting agency of chartered colleges and universities in the Philippines as rank 1 among all SUCs in terms of the highest percentage of accredited programs from 1992 to 2019. At present, all accreditable programs in the undergraduate and graduate levels have been accredited, with all colleges having Level 4 accreditation. All baccalaureate programs have also been issued with their certificates of program compliance. Cebu Normal University's challenge is to sustain excellence, to go ever upward, and to continue to thrive. We moved through years of achieving one milestone after another where the university cultivated significance in higher education, always moving onwards and taking the challenge to lead. As we reflect on what glory the colors of crimson and gold represent, we anchor it on the reality of a state university operating in the middle of a pandemic and how we found ourselves facing unprecedented challenges. Difficult is the time, but shining amid the darkness is the CNU family, helping and reaching out to one another and a greater community, complementing its creative innovations to that of compassionate service. Sustaining excellence and cultivating significance come down to one thing: service.
To serve in the new normal in the CNU context is the very goal of thriving and leading. CNU's legacy of excellence is a strong foundation, and our aspirations give us direction, but it is in service that CNU draws its inspiration. The CNU-RTL tells a story of moving upward and onward to greater glory, but that this glory is not one defined by medals, trophies, and awards, but by excellence that is translated to quality higher education in the service of building a much stronger nation. Thank you, Gawad Edukampyon, for giving us avenue to share the CNU story of thriving, leading, and serving in the new normal in crimson and gold. Excelsior!